Welcome back to Lost Legacies.
A Hidden City Book Co. Productions.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam.
Welcome back, guys. It's been a while. For you listening, maybe not too often. There's only a week gap between these two episodes. But for us, it's been easily over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because this is when we were dealing with the laptop issues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which there really wasn't a fix. They just refreshed everything on my computer and said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm like, oh, great. So it's just the quality of the computer. Thanks. So
yeah. Great product, guys. Real great. Yeah.
And now that I'm doing the, I'm looking it up and stuff, everyone's saying like the MacBook Air from 2020, the fan is super loud. I was like,
wow.
So that it's the computer I got.
Yeah.
And like I knew it was loud, but it's just recently, like since the last update or two, for the last month or two,
mm-hmm.
the fan is just, it won't turn off. And it depends. Like it really depends like what's going on. Like I'll turn off I'll shut down all my the internet, the browser, the screens, and it turns off. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I could do other stuff. Spotify, no problem. So everything's closed right now, and then I start recording here, kicks on, you know?
Wow.
When I was editing last week's episode, it would start and stop. And like, it's just like no rhyme or reason to it, man.
That's real weird.
Yeah, I'm like, and it's tough because I use the alarm online, it's like onlineclock.net or something like that. I use that for my alarm to wake up. And a couple nights I couldn't use it because the fan wouldn't turn off. And when it's the middle of the night and it's so quiet, you hear the fan and it'll just like, it'll start out of nowhere. It'll be quiet. And then 3 a.m. comes and it'll just kick on. I'm like, what the heck's going on? It doesn't make any sense. So
the fairies coming to use your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. But then I looked up like the latest version of the MacBook Air, and apparently it doesn't even have a fan.
What?
And everyone's saying we don't know how that works. It just doesn't get hot. I don't know.
That sounds suspect.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. But yes, it's been 2 weeks, man. What's gone on in the last 2 weeks that we haven't discussed?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You started X-Men 97?
Oh yeah. Started X-Men 97. It's great. I love it. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm just loving how much love my boy Cyclops is getting.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying like this show's finally doing him right.
Yeah.
It's like nice.
Yeah. Such a kind of a big like change up from the animated series back in the 90s, you know, because that was, you know, it was kind of like the Wolverine Power Hour, you know, where it was just like we're focusing on Wolverine because he's, you know, super popular and blah blah blah. And it's like now it feels like everybody is getting their everyone's getting their due, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Seen any movies in the last 2 weeks?
Not new movies, but new to me. I saw Excalibur.
Oh yes, classic fantasy.
Yeah. You let me borrow the DVD. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know. Like I loved it, and I've been seeing, you know, people like posting about it and posting like images from it. You know, just saying like on a purely like visual level, like this movie's great. And yeah, so you know, I watched it. And yeah, I agree. I think it is visually stunning. You know, the script needed work. You know, it's really weird because it's based off of a stage play of the whole like Arthurian legend, but it really doesn't feel like there's a story, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Like it really does go for like the high emotion, and like, oh, high emotion and high drama, but there's no like kind of like the character stakes aren't there. It's all just plot, but
It
no,
almost plays
like
out like a
nothing of substance.
biography,
Yeah, it
like a
does.
biopic. It's just like these events are happening, which are important, but it's kind of like these are the highlights of this guy's life we need to show on film, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, it's a weird way to make, a King Arthur movie.
Hmm.
I think there are better versions that have done it. I still am of the possibly delusional belief that the best King Arthur movie is the Merlin TV miniseries,
Starring Sam Neill.
starring Sam Neill as Merlin.
I agree, which is crazy because like it's a Merlin movie, you know? But that
Yeah,
was still probably the coolest take on the King Arthur story.
yeah.
Yeah, this was. I feel like this. It could have been. Should have been a much longer movie, or it should have
Hmm.
been like a trilogy, or like two or three films. You know, because there's
Yeah.
just so much story in that saga that in this
Hmm.
one guy's life. Um, I don't know. Even Merlin was a mini series. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, it felt like the highlights. We're just gonna do this and this and this and just keep going. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, okay.
It's definitely more of like a mood piece than anything else,
Hmm.
you know. Um, but still, great visually. The score is fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, and you can definitely see, it's it's weird. Somebody I follow on Letterboxd said that this is like the creepy uncle to the Green Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like that, like it kind of makes sense. Like it is, the camera leers, a lot on I mean, on a very young Helen Mirren.
Hmm.
They're not afraid to show off, women's bodies in Excalibur.
Hmm.
Um, but like the visual style is there, and you can definitely see where like the director of the Green Knight pulls that, like keeping the camera like still, but still have it doing something interesting,
Hmm.
um
I guess we're just gonna have to make Space King Arthur.
uh well, they're doing I think it was just recently announced. I think the guy who did the director who did Millie Bobby Brown's dragon movie, Damsel.
Damsel.
Yeah, the guy who did Damsel for Netflix, he just signed on to do the live action Sword in the Stone for Disney.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say something like the Beatles cinematic universe. We're gonna get a movie from each night of the Round Table.
Matt, that was that was the Guy Ritchie pitch.
Really? Was that his pitch?
Yeah, Arthur, Legend of the Sword with Charlie Hunnam
Mm-hmm.
as Arthur. That was the whole pitch. They wanted to do like a whole cinematic universe. That's why they casted all of these people early on, because we were going to get movies of all the knights.
Stupid. I was making a joke. That's stupid, Guy Ritchie. Although, I mean, honestly,
You fell into a classic blunder.
I would really like to see that. I think that would be cool. But you got to be like, I don't know. I take us back to that time. Don't give us a modern version of it. And by modern, I mean it was still in that time period. It just felt like a modern Guy Ritchie kind of film. From what the little I've seen of it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
that sucks.
Well, I mean, like they updated it a lot. He is like a street urchin, kind of bruiser kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like he's a very just like British kind of punk who
Yeah.
then has to fight evil Jude Law. Also, I think there's like giant trolls in it or something. Like I don't know. I didn't see.
I don't know.
I didn't watch it. Um, but yeah, I think I don't know if my pitch would be to just do all of the nights,
Hmm.
or do
Do
any
the
of
cool
that.
ones.
I mean, there are a lot of knights, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it would just be I don't know. It would just be cool to like also have different directors come in and like tackle, you know,
Mm.
like kind of like let's say okay, fine. David Lowery gave us, maybe a definitive rendition of The Green Knight.
Hmm.
Cool. I want to see a definitive like Lancelot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to see Percival and Galahad.
Hmm.
I want to see like how their movies, because both of them, if I'm remembering rightly, both of their stories intersect with the Grail.
Hmm.
Percival is the one I believe who finds it, but Galahad is the one who eventually like is tasked with like hiding it and
Mm.
preserving it.
Hmm.
So it would be interesting to see because we get some of that in Excalibur once all the knights go
Yeah.
on the Grail quest. Like it sucks because, spoiler alert for I don't know how old this movie is, probably 50 years old. But when we get the scene where like we see like all the dead knights, like oh man, like they failed, like they failed in their journeys, like um but there is some interesting intersection with like oh who Percival finds on his journey,
Hmm.
which knights he sees meet their end, and how I think he might be the only one who comes back.
Mm.
um but yeah, I don't know, like I think
Yeah,
that'd
because
be
that
cool.
leads into Ready Player One.
Yeah, oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be cool. It would be fun. Like, I want to see. When I say modern day, I mean like with our technology and stuff. I don't mean style, but I want to see like a modern day take on like that classic, you know, swords and sorcery fantasy.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool.
Hmm.
Let's not make it more punk, although I still would. But not in the way of like literally making, King Arthur a street punk. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And like, yeah, there's so much gold in that saga that you could just make whatever you want. I want to see the
Yeah.
Guinevere movie, you know? What
Yeah.
are and
Yeah.
like what are we going to do? How closely are we going to follow the story, or are we going to improve on it in any way, make it more badass? Like who
Hmm.
knows?
Hmm.
Yeah. Man, I don't know. Uh I remember Camelot being pretty good. First Night being pretty good with Sean Connery
And Richard Gere
and Richard Gere. Yeah.
as Lancelot.
Yeah. Such a weird casting. They'd probably just get Timothy Chalamet to play King Arthur, of course.
Oh, I thought
Although,
I thought Lancelot.
oh yeah, he would be the younger one, right?
Hmm.
Ooh, that is interesting. So who would play King Arthur?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson, right?
There you go.
No, but he's not old enough. Like you got to give Guinevere a reason to cheat on King Arthur and to fall in love with Lancelot. You know?
Why? Just because her husband is old?
Well,
They're like the same age.
that's interesting because in Excalibur they're about the same age.
Yeah.
In First Night, there's a big age difference. So I don't know
Oh
what is
yeah.
more accurate.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember Merlin? I don't remember any of them.
I want to say they were about that. It's interesting because I think this. So I haven't seen First Night, so this was like the first kind of time I ever considered that uh, Arthur would be older than Lancelot.
Mm, mm.
Um, but I think because I think even in the Merlin miniseries, uh, which which we should clarify, we're talking about like the '90s TV miniseries that's like 3 hours long and not the BBC Merlin show. Um, that got popular in like in the mid 2000s.
Right.
But in the mini series, I think Arthur and Lancelot are around the same age.
Hmm. So this is saying, well, I mean, obviously King Arthur's story is this a long tale through his life. This is
Yeah.
saying he became king at the age of 15. as all
Okay.
those old stories do, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and he dies anywhere between the age of 35 and 75.
Ooh.
I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay.
Wow. That's a gap. He's got well because in Excalibur they do say they do have a line where he's like he's unaging. Um
Oh yeah.
like his fate is tied to the finding of the Grail. And because of that, like because we see like a couple like his brother, we see his brother is older by the time they find the Grail.
Hmm.
But he hasn't aged.
Right.
He's just like zapped of all his, strength and energy.
Hmm. So it says roughly when Lancelot is knighted, he claims to be 18, but he's in reality 15.
Hmm.
So I guess maybe according to this, granted, it's just very, very 60 seconds worth of research on my phone. King Arthur is probably a little bit older than Lancelot because he doesn't recruit Lancelot right away, right?
Yeah, he's king. He's king for a while.
Yeah. So interesting. Man.
It's just what baffles me more than any of this that we've talked about is that this comes out years after Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. This
Oh,
is
wow.
Excalibur was made after Monty Python. And that is wild to me that you would just decide like
Doubling down.
I don't care what these guys say. We're doing it. We're making it serious.
Yeah.
We're go it's hardcore for real this time.
Even then, like as funny and slapstick as that movie is, you at least get to see some of the journey of each of the knights, you
Yeah.
know? Oh man.
Like
There's no
we get Sir
Lancelot
Robin.
in that one,
So
right?
John Cleese is
Is
Lancelot.
he Lancelot?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there's no love story.
No, no. No, because they never go to Camelot.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
They go,
They
they
just
do
leave.
they do the song and they're just like, it's a silly place. And then they leave and
Oh
immediately are on the
man.
girl quest.
Okay, so what we do is we get the actor who plays Jonas to play King Arthur. And then when Arthur is a little older, we get the guy who plays middle-aged Jonas to play Arthur. And then the guy who plays Adam will play old King Arthur.
No, he never gets old. That's
Oh,
the
that's true.
thing.
Okay, he'll
Yeah,
just stop at middle-aged Jonas or
there you
middle-aged
go.
Arthur. Which that actor, I believe he's like the captain in that next show they did. Uh
Oh yeah, like
17,
18
I don't
something
know,
something.
something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. Only went one season, unfortunately.
Yeah, before Netflix
And
canceled it.
the actress who plays Martha, I think would make an excellent Guinevere. We're just
So
gonna
now
we're
we're
just
just
gonna
gonna
get
cast
season
everybody.
4 of Dark, but as King Arthur films. I want them to be films. I want them to be epic. We'll
Yeah,
do like a trilogy of movies.
yeah.
Man,
I immediately was just like, okay, Yorick is gonna be Uther. Uh, screw it.
here's the question.
We'll just get Hannah to be Morgana.
Here's the question. Who's
Okay,
gonna play Lancelot?
with this cast,
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy, all German cast except for Lancelot. Well, he does come from like across the sea or
There you
something,
go.
so I guess that fits.
So Timmy Chalamet just signed a first look deal with Warner Brothers. Hear about that?
Yeah, yeah,
Which I mean, that's classic. That's like classic film studio, you know, deals right there where they would try and lock down one actor per studio. In a way, it was
yeah,
like the studio owns you, but at the same time, for the actor, it's like, hey man, you kind of get the pick of your movies here. So I'm like, that's interesting.
yeah.
Also, yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm like, I get it, especially because it's Warner's. I'm like, are you sure this is a good idea, Timmy?
Mm-hmm.
But they did the same thing with Margot Robbie's production company after Barbie.
Mm.
They're like,
Okay.
hey, you can do what you want as long as it has our logo. And there was one more thing. Timmy Chalamet, Margot Robbie's production company, and someone else signed some kind of deal like that. I don't
Hmm.
know. Oh, no, I don't remember.
Was it the guys who did Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
So,
Because apparently
ah,
the sequel just came out.
yep, and they're already planning on doing the multiverse or the crossover film
Oh yeah, yeah. I
with
saw the
Bambi
poster.
and Peter Pan and
Yeah, yeah. I saw the poster. It looks terrible.
bring
Um,
cinema back, please.
See that that's kind of my thing. I don't know if we want to keep going before talking about Dark, but I just feel like they did it wrong. You don't just make Pooh this weird homicidal maniac, with an axe. No, like you take the idea of like a Pooh who's lost his way, becoming a feral monster, and you already have the plot of like this logging company tearing up the 100 acre wood. That's what he does. He starts killing off all the loggers. And then
Mm,
he ends up attached to some family who refuses to move because they have nowhere to go, or this is my family home, or whatever. And of course, they got a little girl. So then Pooh is like living under the house, protecting them from the loggers who are trying to like, evict them and stuff. But then they're trapped with Pooh because he can't let go. He can't let them move on because he can't move on.
that's
That's my
actually
that's my pitch.
that's actually not bad. I don't want to see it, that movie, but that's a lot better than what we got. I would
Yeah.
do something like it's more true to like the Pooh we know, at least from that first book, because that's what's in public domain.
Yeah.
But he has to stop the serial killer. There's someone in the woods killing
Yeah.
people, and he just wanders in and like, oh, you can even like frame him. There's this tiny bear walking around, and he's tiny. He's Pooh
And
Bear
we
size.
and we think he killed someone.
Yeah, he
What?
seems very sentient. Like I don't know. I mean, I think all bears are sentient, but
Oh
he just
bother.
he seems more human than bear. And he actually seems like a little old man actually. Um but yeah, so he has to clear his name and stop the murderer all while still having the same like IQ of Winnie the Pooh, which is awesome because like he's uh to be kind, he is not smart. But Winnie the Pooh is very wise.
Hmm.
And that's kind of the concept of the Tao of Pooh. And they're pulling all of these classic Pooh stories and showing, like, oh, there is wisdom here of having, like, this little bear who kind of seems like an old man, but who has the mentality of a child. Like, there's a lot of that innocence and wisdom that comes from that.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I would love to have that character have to solve a murder. And then in the
Now
sequel you
that would
could,
be
yeah,
cool.
you could get the friends of the 100 Acre Woods to pitch in,
Yeah.
or yeah, we've joked about my Winnie the Pooh movie. I don't think we're ever gonna make it, so like I want to talk about it on the podcast, but at the same time, like I don't want anyone to steal my idea.
No, no, we won't.
Okay,
We
okay.
won't. Y'all can have those other ideas. We're keeping our secret Winnie the
Winnie the
Pooh story
Pooh
a
solves the
secret.
mystery. You can have it. You can take it. Winnie the Pooh versus a serial killer
There you go.
doesn't hold a candle to my Pooh Bear movie. Um, yeah, do something like that. Um, yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Dark eventually, but on the just to mention it real quick on the topic of cinema and doing it right and bring back cinema, the director of the original Crow is making an 100% AI movie. Did you hear that?
What?
Yep, 100% of it is artificial intelligence. I'm like, ugh.
What?
I'm like, hey, this guy is cool because I liked what he was saying about The Crow and how like it shouldn't be remade, because it was such a feat to get it made after the death of Brandon Lee, right? That's his name.
Hmm.
Yeah, after the death of Brandon Lee, and he's like, that is his legacy, even though they've done like the straight to DVD sequels and stuff, but he's like, it shouldn't be rebooted, it shouldn't be remade, and I really like the things he was saying about it. But then he comes and drops that he's made a completely 100% film, all AI. I'm like, never mind.
Dude. Oh,
This sucks.
that sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that upsets me. Uh if you use AI, you're the scum of the earth to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's all I got.
So, especially in its current form, and that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Like, if you can find a way to use it without stealing from other people's art or data or whatever it is, go for it. But it's not at that point yet.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
other than that,
Now let's
I,
talk about happy things and let's talk about
yeah,
dark.
let's talk about Dark. I think we're caught up after 2 weeks. um, so yeah, and happy news. No, we're now talking about Dark, season 3, episode 2, The Survivors, in which we find out who survived, what are they doing, where are they at, and that's pretty much it. I was trying to think of what else. That's basically it. It basically the episode 1 of this season was all in Mirror Winden.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, this one is all Winden Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I know, they do jump through time a little bit, but most of it is back. Winden Prime was it 2020, right? That's when it
Mm-hmm.
happened. Yeah. What were y'all's thoughts? First reactions.
I'm trying to broach this delicately
Uh oh.
because it's like I enjoyed the episode,
Yeah.
but I have I have a bone to pick.
Uh oh.
And
Sam doesn't like dark guys. He's going rogue.
yeah, I'm going rogue. Surprise. No, it's not that, and it's not even really like I don't know. It's not the writer's fault or anything. Uh I have a like visceral reaction to uh people being smothered
Oh
or
God.
even just like the implication of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so when like and I think it's just like it I look, I don't know where it comes from. I just know that like for as long as I can remember, as long as I've been like cognizant of like what movies and TV shows and books do, like the idea of storytelling, as long as I've been aware of that, that's been a huge fear of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Um seeping into my normal everyday life, where it's like, hey, it's like, oh yeah, what's everybody afraid of? It's like, oh, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, yeah, no, being smothered. That's
Oh God.
100% my biggest fear. Um yeah, to the point where like I get like full body spasms and like I start
Oh,
to
jeez.
like my arms like lock up and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, it's like a lot of people get like that when they like see blood or something like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can do that, that's fine. It is the act of the witnessing of that I'm just like, I cannot do this. I
Mm-hmm.
had like I it started happening. I immediately handed the remote to Kat. I put mute and I was like, please just tell me when it's over. And I like
Oh
jumped up and went to the kitchen. I was like,
yeah.
I'll wait. And thankfully it didn't last long because I'm like,
Yeah.
again, this is a TV show, you know. If it was a movie, I'm sure it would be longer. Um, but yeah, so that that for me, I guess, is just a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to broach the subject of like, I think we should be putting some sort of like uh word of caution or
Like a trigger warning.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like a trigger warning, and it's like
Yeah.
because I mean, look, like they I'll I'll shout these people out, the folks over at Dimension 20, for a lot of their like early seasons. They didn't really have any like trigger warnings like up on the screen
Mm-hmm.
or in front of the episode. It was usually just something that was in like the episode description. Now they've like started putting it in front of in front of all of their shows. It doesn't matter what, like rating it is or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, we're doing like a fun high school fantasy. Oh, we're doing like a like spooky murder tales. It's like they will put up trigger warnings because those things just exist in everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for people who just want to consume this media as in their free time as their hobby, like they should be warned about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and I know that Netflix does the little like censor bar up top when it's like harsh language or graphic violence or something like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that doesn't really get the nuance across.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying. And that and not to make the whole episode about this because I still enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
this episode, but that was just something that I wanted to talk about because
Yeah.
that was kind of the biggest thing that left me with this episode.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard because everyone's triggered by something different, you know? It's
Right.
really hard to do like the kind of trigger warnings and knowing exactly, what to put in there. Because we've seen graphic violence on this show before, so they all
Yeah.
kind of, line it up in that one thing, warning graphic violence, but it
Right.
doesn't, well, like what kind? What do you mean,
Yeah.
Um, if someone has a really bad fear of getting choked by the damn piano string, this season is not going good for you.
Oh yeah.
Because that's 2 episodes in a row, and I'm like, that's I don't know, that's rough. There's got to be, maybe they could do like a little link before the episode starts. Click here and it lists all the stuff, I don't know. Like I think there's like a mother's watch party or something like that website where you'll just see like people kind of list all the trigger warnings in whatever it is you look up, you
Mm.
know.
Hmm.
And they can get as detailed as you want. A big one that people have, or another site, does the dog die?
Yeah.
That's a whole site of, you just look up your film and it's like, nope, the dog doesn't die. Okay, I could go watch this movie now.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that storyline, just how that was heartbreaking, man. And we finally see Tronte again, both middle age and older one.
Hmm.
And you feel bad. He's cheating on his wife, and his kid's missing. But you do see how much he really cared for Claudia, and he's really missing her. And I think it all shows in that scene where he gives Regina the ride home, and it's like, oh man, and the possibility that he might be her father.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so I think all of that on top of everything else leading to the way the episode ended is just so heartbreaking. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, and we hadn't seen old Tronte at all during season 2.
Oh yeah, I guess we hadn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hell of a way to come back.
Yeah. That's sad, man. Poor Regina. And then even at the end too, when they're doing the like the montage and you see her picture of when she's young, on the board, and it's like, oh,
Hmm.
jeez. Speaking of which, I gotta look up what song, because man, this show's really good at their montages.
Yeah.
I know we have certain friends who don't like montages, and I'm like, dude, Sons of Anarchy changed my opinion on montages. I'm like,
Hmm.
you can tell so much, and I'm such a visual guy, and we've talked about this with acting. I think the less said, the better, the more you
Hmm.
can convey. And I'm like, that is the montage is the perfect medium for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's definitely like there's an argument for when montages are done bad,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And I think you can tell when it's not done very well, but Dark is
Hmm.
one of those shows where it's like no, like and it's cool that they've built the montage into every episode. Like it's part of their
Yeah.
storytelling,
Hmm.
you know. So like we get to have the whole episode of, yeah, we're talking about it, we're saying things, we're not saying things, we're doing all this stuff, and then the montage is really kind of a miniature thesis for the episode, you know.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know, I find the way that Dark does it to be super fascinating. I love it.
Hmm. And the song they were playing was Broken Sleep by Agnes Obel,
Mm,
who I'm pretty sure they've used this song before.
mm,
Um, it's also on one of my playlists on Spotify, and it came
mm-hmm.
up today while I was working, and I was like instantly taken back
Do you
to
want to be taken back to Dark?
the apocalypse of 2020. No, I don't.
Uh-huh. To Winden?
But
Ugh.
man, it's a good song. Well, let's talk about Winden, because the scene where we first see Claudia in modern, quote unquote, modern day, in like she's holed up with Regina in the police station, and we
Hmm.
hear the radio talking about the apocalypse.
Yeah.
That was pretty interesting. So they pretty much deduced that it started in Winden, but the main theory they believe is that the Earth stood still for a fraction of a second,
Yeah.
and that threw everything off. Planes are falling out of the sky. The weather's crazy. Like I was like,
Hmm.
oh
Like
my god,
the ocean tides are all,
yeah, all out
going
of whack.
wild. Yeah. And I'm like, that is crazy. That's wild.
Yeah, that really is like the that's terrifying. That's like the collapse of a society. It seems in a way so much more plausible than like, let's say, The Last of Us, which is technically, it is a plausible thing, but like The Last of Us, like essentially the world ends over a weekend,
Yeah.
and Dark is saying their way is like, no, everyone's still around, but like they lose their power. There's no more electricity. The weather's really going crazy. Everything's just
Hmm.
nuts. And I'm like, dude, to actually not kill off everyone instantly, to have them still survive and like slowly start perishing, that is
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Both are terrifying, but it's like, having to live through that, like,
Yeah. Definitely one of like the worst cinematic apocalypses I've seen, you
right.
know?
Even though we haven't really seen it, but just the implications of what they're
Yeah.
talking about is
Yeah.
scary. Um, yeah, man, if that happens, like, I want to be the first to go. you know, like, man,
Either like the first to go in like the initial thing, or like by the end of the week.
by the end
Let's
of
say it
the
happens. Let's say it happens on like a Sunday. It's like, no, by Friday I'm like, no, I know how this goes, and then something
I
happens, and I'm like, oh,
I
okay.
don't, man, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to see anything happen to my loved ones. I don't. We've talked about this. I uh I can't run out of contact solutions. I'm like, damn it, my eyes are gonna be on fire. I'm gonna have to wear my glasses, which are gonna fall off the first time someone chases me. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh man,
Hmm.
just
I have a new prescription of contacts
mhm.
that I just got, and they're super thin, so they allow more oxygen to get into your eyes. Um, but like I've actually, because like it's a thing, like you rub your eyes and you're wearing contacts, oh, your contacts start like sliding or falling off. I've accidentally done that like twice so far since I've
Oh
had
yeah.
them, and they haven't moved.
Oh,
And I was like, whoa. I even told my eye doctor that. She was like, oh, okay, interesting. She wrote it down in her notes. I was like, yeah, it was just one of those things. I was at work and I just rubbed my eye and I was like, oh,
nice.
I can still see. So okay, like the apocalypse has to happen right when I get not get my like prescription, like when I get my order in of contacts.
Yeah.
Then I'll be good for about a year.
Well, I had this conversation a couple months ago with someone, and we were talking about end of day scenarios, and I'm like, if the end of the world, something like that happens in the middle of the day, statistically speaking, there's gonna be someone who's mid haircut. So are they gonna be running around with like half a shaved head? You
Right?
know, like that sucks. I was always saying that if it happens to me, like if it happens during the week, I'll probably just be like my work shirt, like the t-shirt that has like the store label. But if it
Yeah.
happens like on the weekend or something or in the afternoon, I'm gonna spend the whole apocalypse in like my Winnie the Pooh t-shirt, you know, or like so, or
It's
like
laundry
the one
day.
with the cute little turtle I have. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I dress comfy at home. Well,
Yeah.
everywhere really, but especially at home. It's like,
Exactly.
yeah, do you hear? He's coming. Who? The Pooh. That's what
Oh
they'll call me,
God.
the Pooh,
Not the poo.
because I'll have this bloodied
No.
Winnie the Pooh T-shirt throughout the whole apocalypse.
Well, like it's kind of the thing too. It's like they say, every outfit that you wear is potentially what you'd wear as a ghost.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's like, so if you die today, the outfit you have on, that's
And we
your
did
that's
talk
your
about
ghost
that
outfit.
with Dad, you know, because
Hmm.
we were saying like if the world blows up or whatever, you don't have to worry about it. I was like, no, you're just gonna be a space ghost floating around out there.
Yeah,
You know, Winnie the Pooh T-shirt.
Winnie the Pooh t-shirt. The aliens will see you, be like, huh,
Ooh,
fascinating.
yeah. Um, yeah. This episode, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was pretty sick yesterday.
Mm.
I don't know if it's just dehydration or what, but this episode would not end. Because like I'll stop it and I'm taking my notes and I checked. I'm like, oh, I'm only 18 minutes in. Oh, I'm like, geez, it was really good, but it was just really slow, really dark. You know.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. I said the thing. Whereas episode one was, I felt like it was a little more exciting because it was this new world and it was
Hmm.
something very familiar but different.
Hmm.
This one, it was just like, shit, just more of the same, just piling up on itself, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it sucks, you know. I like the characters of Peter and Elizabeth. They're looking for the mom and sister.
Hmm.
Haven't found them. I'm like, dude, that's rough. Oh, and I think they mentioned 3 months. It's been 3 months.
Did they say that?
Well,
Oh, because
Katerina's been in the 80s for 3 months.
that's right.
So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's been 3 months. Because so far the show has always matched up. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's been 3 months after the explosion.
Yeah. 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 That would make sense.
The only difference is that Jonas is in Mirrorwinden, and that's in the past, technically. It's 2019.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sucks, man. Young Noah shows up and he basically tells Peter, someone's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh my god.
Hmm.
No, not
It's
Peter.
like, and I'm gonna look after her. I'm gonna look after Elizabeth. I'm like,
Oof.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
wild.
I am kind of bummed we didn't see like day one. Because I really wanted to see. It would have been
Yeah.
interesting to see, like, what did Noah tell them? Did he tell them who he was? Uh, like how he got there? Like, I want to know how much Peter actually knows about Noah.
Yeah.
But then two, I also want to see like why isn't Peter and Elizabeth working with Claudia and Regina?
Yeah.
Especially because they know, especially with Claudia being there, that time travel is a thing. You
Hmm.
know, because they even mentioned it. I don't know exactly how much they're talking about here because they basically they haven't found the bodies of Charlotte or Francesca.
Yeah.
So they're saying even Elizabeth says maybe they traveled. I'm like, do you mean like traveled away or traveled through time? Like I'm
Hmm.
trying to figure out how much they actually know.
Yeah.
Peter obviously knows.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I want to know why they're not working with Claudia and Regina.
Yeah.
Different goals for sure, but you would think, you know, hey, end of the world, I know you guys. I'm going to try and stick with you.
Right. Right. Like we got to team up with
Mhm.
the people that we know.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, because also like I was just thinking like that was such a dynamic image of like this young Noah being in the bunker with Claudia, with Elizabeth, with all of them.
Yeah.
And I was really hoping that we would get, something out of that, you
Yeah.
know. That's kind of, it was kind of the thing that we talked about with back when we were talking about Lost, where it's like we had the whole episode, the other 49 days, where we see like the survivors of the tail section and everything they had to go through whilst on like a concurrent journey with everybody at the beach.
Right, right.
It's like kind of like, not saying that we needed to go that in depth, but I at least wanted to see like that. I think that just stems from like you and I's obsession with like, what is day one? What does day one of the apocalypse look
Yeah.
like?
I
You
feel like a lot
know?
of people skip that because it's hard to write or they don't want to worry about the details.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
those details fascinate us both with things like this or with Lost and Battlestar Galactica, where like uh so like
Why?
a more recognizable problem is like where are we gonna get our water?
Yeah.
Ooh, crash land on the island, you need fresh water that doesn't have salt in it, fresh water.
Hmm.
That's what fresh water is. You need fresh
Hmm.
water. Battlestar Galactica, they're traveling through space. Water's not easily accessible. So
Yeah.
like those are the way they can build such drama in this high stakes survival scenario. We care about that stuff. Like I
Yeah.
want to see day one. That's part of the reason why I enjoyed that first season of Fear the Walking Dead,
Mm.
because you actually see the day and hours leading up to the outbreak, and then you see like what happens in the week and weeks after.
Yeah.
But then like as it went on, it kind of Elisa Debnam Carey should have been the lead, and they were cowards. They never made her the lead.
Yeah.
Also famously known as Alexa Tree Crew from The 100,
Yes, from the
which I
100.
bought all the Blu-rays with my birthday money.
You're welcome.
All seven, yes, thank you, all seven Blu-rays, because on March 31st, Netflix is taking it off. So I'm like, I'm getting these bad boys.
Wow.
Both the worst and best television I've ever seen in my life. The 100 for season 100 of Lost Legacies.
And that's our endorsement right there.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, because it's been on my mind because they just did Conageddon, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
the 100 con,
Hmm.
and they have all the panels and all the guests. So I'm seeing everyone, this reunion with everyone, and I'm like, man, this is so cool. Even though it ended in 2020, so it hasn't been that long, but still, I'm like,
Hmm.
I gotta go back and start from the beginning.
You never finished it.
Yeah, I'm kind of
You never
curious. I don't
finished
know
it
if
in
I'm
the
gonna
first
watch.
place.
Like, I think I still have the last 4 or 5 episodes. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if I'm gonna watch them and then start over, or just start from the beginning.
I feel like at this point you just have to start over.
Maybe I'll live tweet it. Do a thing because
Hey,
especially
that's
with
pretty
Lost
popular right
Legacies.
now.
Yeah, especially with Lost Legacies, I'm really digging talking about these shows. And
Yeah.
hearing feedback from you and from Dan and everyone else. So like, I don't know. But again, that's just another show to add to this podcast. Maybe I'll live tweet Matt gets grounded. I don't know. You
That's
know?
perfect.
Matt gets grounded. Hashtag Matt gets grounded. Um, my rewatch of the 100. And then at the end, I'll reveal, like, okay, guys, I actually haven't seen these last 5 episodes.
People will be freaking out. They'll be like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I've seen a lot of episodes or shows. People do that online about like Star Trek Next Gen. They're just like live
Mm,
tweeting, and I'm like, interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Um, yeah, let's see what else. I think probably the best moment of the episode was Katerina in the 80s, and she finds Yorick.
Hmm.
Like, oh
Hmm.
man, dude, these actors can act
They're so good.
so good.
And it's like it's a testament to the writers
Yeah.
and to the actors because like they don't write almost any dialogue for that scene.
Right,
She,
exactly.
she just shows up, in the institute, sees him, calls out his name, Yorick, and he just looks up at her and then instantly sees her. And she
Yeah.
instantly knows. And like, then there's tears, and his hands are shaking, and she's holding his hands. And then immediately she's like, I'm getting you out of here. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
that's true love. That
Yeah.
is true love right there. This dude was a piece of shit. He doesn't deserve this kindness, and yet
Uh-huh.
his wife came back to get him
Uh-huh.
and her son, but her son is mysteriously disappeared.
Uh-huh.
Where
And
he's at?
Hannah's the one who left him there.
Yeah. Oh, freaking
And his
Hannah.
wife is gonna get him out. He's
Yeah.
looking for silver while lying in bed with gold. You
Ooh.
son of a bitch.
Ooh, dang. That's good. I'm gonna write that down. That's like a Fleetwood Mac lyric, you
Oh,
know?
right. I know.
You
It's
know,
from
they're
some
just
song.
looking at each other
Yeah.
while they're doing that.
Oh man, Lindsay.
Looking for
Yeah,
silver
dude.
while
If
you're lying in
Stevie
bed
Nicks singing
with
that
gold.
to Lindsey Buckingham, I would
Yeah.
love that. I forgot what song that's from, but
Oh,
um,
that's okay. Okay. I guess we just got copyright. Oh, yeah, we got the copyright
oh
check.
god, we're canceled again.
Well, we're canceled again, guys.
Yeah.
Donate
So,
to
dude,
our.
this episode, I feel like we haven't actually talked about this episode that much.
We're
Uh,
like in and out. Yeah.
but it was a very simple episode. Like, it really was like not a lot happening. It's just kind of catching us up with a lot of things, a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Um,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
man.
like honestly, the biggest thing that happens is, Tronte kills Regina.
Uh-huh. And he says, she says, this is the only way to save you. What the hell does that mean, Trante?
I'm pretty sure it's Claudia. I'm pretty sure it's old Claudia.
Old Claudia. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure she knows that like this younger me is distracted trying to find meds, and taking care of my daughter and all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
like it's kind of a thing where it's like this is the thing about time travel where you see you're living in a loop and you're living
We're
all these
starting to
lives. It's
see
like
the loops because all these characters are like, no, 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 no. We got to break this loop. I'm never going to do that.
yeah,
But we start to see how the motivations are changing and they're not that they want to become these people, but they end up becoming those people.
exactly,
And
exactly.
the big one was middle aged Jonas, because now we
Yes.
found out. Okay, Marta goes back 1800s, back to the
Mhm.
tan house factory, and everyone else is there. All the friends are there, and she's like, "Hold up, slow your roll. I'm not your Martha." She starts explaining. Jonas has a letter. We don't know what's in that letter, right?
Yeah, I don't think
We
so.
presume he gets it from her, or she gives it
Yeah.
to him. I don't know. But he does not look happy about it, especially after the end of last episode where he's like really happy to see her. He doesn't know how she's there. And
Hmm.
now this episode, he's just pissed. And he's like, he says kind of what we talked about last time. He's like, I don't know who you are. I've never been to your world, yada, yada. Um, yeah. And Bartosz, of course, is the one who's talking to Marta. And he's like, I got to show you something. And he shows her the Sigmundus headquarters, whatever it's called,
Hmm.
and uh, also like Old Town House is there, and apparently he's the last of Sigmundus. And like it was weird because it's all
Yeah.
revealed through exposition. I'm like, okay,
So the way I'm piecing it together is that place, their meeting house built under the Tan House factory, that was already there because Tannhouse's father believed that they could create a machine that could allow them to travel through time. He
right,
passed that belief into his son, which is the old man. So I think this cult has existed longer than the time loop,
right,
or it predates the time loop. But the key to them, the key to everything is Jonas.
yeah,
And now that he's here in this position, and now that he is stuck, and all these things, it's very interesting how they've like framed him, and they've started to frame him, because even now you can kind of see like that's Adam's posture. Like he
yeah.
ends the episode like the way he turns and looks at the old man,
Hmm.
like that's Adam.
Again,
Yeah,
he's turning into Adam, and
yeah.
the motivations are changing, and it's like,
Hmm.
oh.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Tannhaus is easily 80s,
Yeah.
maybe 70s. But so his father started Sigmundus. So who knows how long this has been going on, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah, man, it's crazy. And then of course, it Bartosz is asking Marta. He's like, "Who's Adam?" He says, "Adam killed you. Who is he?" And she's like, He hasn't told you." He's like, "He is Adam. Jonas is Adam." Oh, so Bartosz knows now.
Mm-hmm.
But then the actual episode ends with back in Mirrorwinden,
Mm-hmm.
uh, old Marta, Mirror Marta. I guess she's the only one who lives that long. Old Marta is talking to Jonas. What is she saying? Basically, about she mentions the origin, right? They have to find the origin.
Yeah, they have to find the origin point. There are certain things that happen in both worlds, they just don't happen in the same order.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But things do happen, and she because I think she said something along the lines of like everything is sort of sped up in my world because
Yeah.
the apocalypse still happens, but for us, it happens in 3 days.
Yeah. Like,
And Jonas
oh,
is like, huh? And then it ends.
plot convenience. Why didn't you
Yeah.
take me further back in time, Martha?
It's the loops,
It's
Matthew.
they needed to end the show this season, so they're like,
Yeah.
okay, 3 days.
We've got 8 episodes. We gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We did, yeah. Like this episode was definitely like setting us up, for what's to come, telling us who isn't going to be in play, I feel like for some of it. Because
What do you
like,
mean?
well, because Alexander's dead.
Oh,
Uh,
dude, yeah, that sucked too to see like the photos of the dead bodies of
yeah,
all these
yeah.
characters. We're like, oh man,
We saw Waller's photo up there.
yeah.
And I think it was that Waller's photo that Kat was like, "Damn it, he's dead. I wanted to know his deal. Like, what's going on with him?" I was like, "Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
He's always injured. He's
yeah,
always missing a limb or something." I'm like, "What's
yeah.
up with this
And
guy?"
then the detective guy, he was up there, the
Oh
investigator.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
he's ground
he was
zero,
at
man.
yeah, he's at the center. So yeah, of course he's dead. It's interesting though that like they have those bodies. You
Yeah, so they
know,
didn't get disintegrated.
yeah. I
They,
would just assume that they would.
yeah, so it was a different kind of shockwave,
Yeah,
which is interesting because when they walk into Peter and Elizabeth walk into the Conwell's house, and I'm like, huh,
yeah.
Martha's
It's
body isn't there.
yeah.
So I'm like, did the military?
I think they've gone and like gathered the bodies.
So would
Like they've
she
gone
be on
house
that
to
wall?
house.
It's interesting that,
Probably.
yeah, because it's interesting that we didn't see her up there, but like we saw a
Yeah.
bunch of other people, so and
Yeah.
they're not looking for Martha, so
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. It's also interesting too. We got just a little bit of future Wyndon with future Elizabeth and Charlotte
Yeah, just I
at the
don't know.
cave.
Doing shifts. I can't tell, but no words. They're just sitting there together, and then Charlotte kisses her on the head, and
Hmm.
I'm like,
They do the forehead touch,
oh, the forehead touch. Yeah,
like what young Elizabeth did to her mom,
yeah.
which is interesting because isn't Elizabeth
Her mom.
Charlotte's mom?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's this whole loop. They're each other's. She like the mom is the daughter's the mom. Don't know how that
man,
happens. Time
this is
travel,
yeah,
man.
this is like X-Men levels of BS right here.
Yeah, this is
You
like
know?
time travel just does wacky stuff. Don't get into the science of it because
Yeah,
you'll never break out of the loop if you do that.
yeah, yeah.
So
Because spoilers, I guess, for X-Men '97, but we start off not like right away, but we see that Jean is pregnant,
ooh.
and I was watching it, and I'm like, $5. Which Summer's child is this? And then they say it's a boy, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it's Cable.
It's
Cool,
cable.
gotcha. Yeah, with whole freaking thing. Yeah, because we were watching the older show, uh, and there were two instances in that where I was like, this is so fascinating that they like aren't really even touching on the subject really. But it's like they meet Cable, who's gone back in time, because like my future sucks and I gotta take out this guy, blah blah blah. And there's Cyclops just shooting his kid, shooting the adult version of his kid. I'm like, this is really interesting. And then later, when they go up into space and they get saved by Corsair and the Starjammers, and there's Corsair and Cyclops going into the final battle, having a mutual conversation. It's like, I never knew my dad. It's like, I have a kid somewhere. I don't know where. I'm like,
Oh, so they don't
cross the
know.
lines. Not at that point, they don't.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, that's
Did
so
they find out
cool.
eventually in the show?
I don't know.
I think
Maybe.
so, because
I think they do.
I
I
remember
remember
knowing.
them. Because like the sinister plot definitely goes into Scott's
Yeah. I
like that
remember
accident and all that.
having an old trading card of the X-Men, and I
Mhm.
had one that was kind of like, what's it called, where it's kind of like shiny
Oh, like foil holographic.
holographic foil of Corsair. That's the name, right? And I'm
Yeah,
like, God, this guy looks so cool. He's got to be cool. He's Cyclops' dad.
yep,
That was like my favorite one because it was the foil, and I'm like, oh, cool. And it's such
yeah.
a cool name, Corsair, which is why
Corsair.
I name a lot of characters Corso.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of yeah, because it's like a space pirate. I'm like, I think that's so cool. That's
Do
why,
you did you
like,
also get that from Titan AE?
oh no, his name's Corso as well,
Yeah, that's Bill
right?
Pullman's character. Yeah, Joseph Corso.
That's right. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah,
And he's kind of like a space pirate. Wow.
yeah, kind
I
of.
didn't even put that together. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I had it's always like Jason Corso. That's my D&D character for whatever. Um, but very similar to Jace Corso, who was kind of the main guy in Dark Matter.
Hmm.
Number one, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, cool, Jace Corso. Such a cool name.
Wait,
And I think,
was he one
is he one?
or was he two?
I think he's one. I think he's the first one we see who wakes up. So I
Okay.
think he's one.
Okay.
And two is I forgot the actress's name, but she's now on The Rookie,
Oh, cool.
which is so weird because she does good on that show. But man, she was a badass in Dark Matter,
Mm.
just like Hannah John Kamen. She was a badass in Killjoys, and like no one has like given her her own film yet. I'm like,
Yeah.
you sons of bitches.
She even kind of gets like the short end in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, she was
Like
Ghost.
she's doing cool stuff, but yeah, like it is kind of a
Isn't she
small
supposed to be in
role.
Thunderbolts?
I mean, that's the word. I don't know.
Because
I don't
I
know if
thought
that's
Ghost was in the
official.
art.
Is she?
I think so.
Fingers crossed, man.
Fingers crossed, because I love her. She should have been the new Laura Croft.
Yeah.
Instead, they regulated her to like Laura's best friend for one scene in
Yeah.
the last movie.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sucks. But damn, we've gone on a while about everything other than Dark.
We've talked about it.
We have.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure we'll have all our questions answered next week when we talk about Dark season 3, episode 3, Adam and Adam and Eva or
Yeah.
Ava. I don't know, they're German.
Mm.
Adam and Ava. Charlotte and Ulrich try to piece together what happened in the bunker. Oh, that's right, because in Mirrorwinden they find Mads. We haven't
Oh,
got
yeah.
anything resolution for that.
Yeah.
Also, in different times and worlds, Jonas and Martha work together to gain each other's trust. Oh, just love each other, guys. So that's next week.
It's yeah.
Yeah. We didn't get to talk about it here. So let's do it next week. But I mentioned it last week. What would Mirror Us be like?
Oh.
Dan tweeted at us and said that like I would watch scary movies and I would have a podcast with Dad. But that
Not
doesn't
me?
answer that where's Sam?
Well, I answered you.
Yeah, I said you would be a
Or
film bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, you said, is he a pretentious film bro? And then I tweeted under you. I said he hates genre pictures and loves country music, the modern kind.
And I'm not talking about the Beyonce kind.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. Oh God, so does that mean Mirror Sam is racist?
Oh God.
He's anti woke.
Oh man, he's not enjoying X-Men 97 at all.
Not at all. I actually thought that the executioner guy who, just kept saying that all these mutants do is whine. At least we don't complain about stuff, even though our lives are hard. I found solace in that dude. Yeah, yeah.
He really spoke to me.
He spoke to me. It's the first time I felt represented in a cartoon before.
I don't know why there's so many
made for
women in this
kids.
cartoon. It's called X-Men.
Yeah,
I just want to
gosh.
see dudes and their muscles, but not in a gay way. Oh man.
Oh God, I hate Mirror Sam. I hate him already. Which is weird because he's also supposed to be pretentious. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think we're supposed to like him.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So yeah, Mirror Sam sucks. Is what I'm hearing.
That's why I didn't do the podcast with you.
Oh, okay. You know what? Fair.
Oh man. Wow.
I wouldn't do one with me either.
I probably what kind of podcast would me and Dad have? We start watching This Old House from the beginning. So it's a real dudes podcast, nothing but, actually, This Old House has a very diverse audience. So who knows? We get all kinds of fan questions. People would actually listen. That would be the mirror universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
Wow.
would actually listen to the podcast. They'd be flooding, and well, one, I think we'd also have a Twitter account or I'm sorry, you would have a Twitter account for the podcast. And
Oh, I'd actually do the social media.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Don't
So
remind me.
Mirror Matt is actually just really tech savvy.
Yeah,
That's
Miramax's tech savvy, and he has the time and patience to deal with that crap.
There you go.
Oh man,
Because he's not dealing with his anti woke brother, his pretentious anti woke brother.
uh-huh. Yep. Oh man, jeez, I'm gonna have to fill out Mirror Matt's backstory a little bit. How did he get here? What else is he doing?
I'm not doing anything with Mirror Sam. That's all we know.
I think you figured it out.
Sucks.
Yeah.
He's because now I can say that Prime Universe Sam doesn't suck.
Damn, I don't know. I'm liking Mirror Matt. Oh man. Well, guys, let us know who your mirror universe counterpart would be.
I'm laughing so hard I get a headache.
Yeah, let us know if they would suck or they're better than you. Let us know at hashtag Lost Legacies. We'll see it. I'm also on Twitter at _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Real. That's REEL Texas Weirdo.
Until next time, going dark.
Going dark.